Hello guys, welcome to the Train Parrot. Today we are approaching on the daily the resistance formed by this trend line. I want to talk about what I'm expecting to see once we get in there in the middle of September. I'm going to make a revealing update on the open interest. You can see that we are repeating a pattern very similar to April and July. I'm going to share what I'm expecting to see right after this. Once we exit this box, I'll give you an update on what the whales are doing. We got some bullish signals coming in. We are approaching resistance on the weekly time frame once again. Do not miss the outcomes of that. And of course, we're going to look into the liquidity, the fair value gaps. I'll give you an update on the spread charts that once again, some of them are about to break out. You do not want to miss those. If this breakout plays out, could become one of the largest moves for Bitcoin. I will never look away from these patterns. I'm also going to share more detail into what sort of bot I'm using for running these trades I shared earlier on my Twitter. I know many of you wanted to know more about it, so I'm gonna be showing the bot I'm running and give you a quick overview of the backtest as well at the end of the video. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I put out one of these videos. Yesterday we made it to 215 likes. That is fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Do you think that today we can make it to 200 likes once again? If you can do that for me, that will be amazing. Let's get into the content. Looking at the daily time frame, we can see that Bitcoin continues the trajectory following the footsteps that we defined over the weekend. We place our target at 60K for a potential rejection, but as you can see, the inverse RSI is coming back down, getting closer and closer to the price. And that is a lot more evident when we look just purely at the RSI. Focus on how we are getting closer to the top of the range at an RSI of 54. That is represented by this brown line that currently sits right below 60K, and it will basically mean that the RSI has made it to the top of the range, and it will need at that point to decide whether it's still a resistance or potentially we could see a breakout with further continuation to the upside. My initial expectation based on past performance of September is that around the mid of September, typically we see some sort of rejection, and that is even during bullish years. You can see it in here at 19th of September, on here on the 17th, here on the 12th of September, and here around the 20th of September. And I have made my guess that could be around the 15th of September, but of course, we do not necessarily have to repeat performance. The reason I'm putting this line here is not because I'm gonna take it for granted, but more it's going to act as a reminder together with this resistance in here to make me aware that potentially we could repeat past performance. And this line in here is also reminding me that we have this massive liquidity sitting between 46 and 48K. So if we were to see a large rejection, that is where we're gonna go. If we don't do that, of course we can go way higher. And I'm gonna show you how we can get actually higher than just that 60K. In fact, I already did on Twitter yesterday where I shared this post saying that if we break and hold 58K, we're going to go potentially to 63K. We have this cap and handle, that is the cap, this is the handle, and the handle itself is a W pattern. Both together are bullish patterns, and the high of the cap is around 5K. Therefore, from 58, we can get to 63. And as Joe is saying in here, 58 is such an annoying number to keep getting rejected at, and I completely agree. It's not just the number, but also the CPR that have been for August rejecting us, and for September once again. September typically is a bearish month, and everybody's taking for granted that 58 is going to reject us and taking us to lower levels. I don't take it for granted. I just do a reminder that could repeat, but if we break above 58K and we turn the CPR into support, it could become a quick ride into 63K. If we focus on the 4-hour time frame after our bullish breakout that we had on the 8th of September, we've been forming this resistance in here at an RSI of 63 with 1, 2, 3, and now the 4th time that we cannot get above that level. And as you can see, the price keeps going higher, but the RSI hasn't been able to get that high. We are seeing some hidden bearish divergences, which someone could argue that have already played out when we went to a 53, but what I'm currently interested to see is whether we could see a retest of this ascending support with a higher high. That could be an amazing hint that we are due for that 63K. At the moment, the 4-hour just building the bullish flag, but there is a chance that it could still fail and break below. So I think that 54 at the moment is a critical support on the 4-hour time frame, and we need to continue monitoring how RSI reacts to that level. Does it go below and break to 51, 52, or does it hold it and then goes and prints a higher high? The 4-hour RSI of 54 is currently 57.2, and we've been talking about that level from the time we were approaching the CPR. That 57.2 was going to be resistance, and we would have a tough time breaking above it. Right after we have these 3 weeks to the downside, we took the fair value gap and we found the strength to break 57, and we are currently in the process of testing the breakout. What we do not want to see is we break again back to 56, showing that 57.2 is still resistance. We want the opposite. We want to come back down, test 57.2 and bounce strongly. That on the RSI is going to look something like this, going to 54 and then printing a high. Notice as well that the cross-fib ratio is getting very close to a level of 12 that has put Bitcoin going sideways, and in here it prints a top at 12. Right now we are at 9, so there is some headroom to potentially grab the 60K, and if things get really heated and bullish, to get to 63K as a result of the breakout out of this cup and handle. Today I want to show you something very interesting on the open interest aggregated from all the exchanges. A few days ago, around the 6th of September, I mentioned that this was an area of support of the open interest, that typically from here we either have a ride towards 17 billion and we start ranging, or we break out above that 17 and then we make a full journey to the top of the range at around 21 billion. And what are we doing now? Well, since the 5th of September, you can clearly see that we bounced from 15 billion, we made it to 17.2. So what we now need to see is whether the open interest crosses above 17 to potentially give us a ride to 19, or if we get really lucky and bullish in September, which no one is expecting to happen, we could make it to 21 billion. Getting to 21 billion will make this move straight into the resistance of the megaphone pattern. I'm pretty sure of that. That is just by judging that at these levels we made the same journey on the open interest and we made it to here, and also from 15 billion to 21 billion of open interest we made it also to 72K, so we can easily get to 69K this time if we see the open interest reaching 21 billion again. And another bullish signal that is in the process of confirming is the MACD that now shows the crossover thanks to this green candle information, together with the histogram printing for the first time green as well. Notice that the previous time that we did that was on the 9th of August, and we made a move around 8% to the upside to 65K. If we were to make a move of the same size to the upside, we will make it almost to 63K. And you might be thinking, why are you basing your target of this crossover purely based on the previous crossover and not based on the other ones that gave a lot more profits? Like, for example, this one that happened in January. And that's an excellent question if you were thinking about that. At this stage of the market was in a parabolic move. Since then, we've been on sideways. And right now we are in September, where most people expect it to be a bearish month. So there is a chance that after this breaks out into the middle of September, it reaches that 63 or maybe just 61, and then it sees a rejection that is the typical last shake-off of September in preparation for October, one of the most bullish months for Bitcoin. So it's one of those assumptions that are based on past performance, not guaranteed. Price could continue going way higher than that. It's just a matter of evaluating the conditions once we get to those prices in a future video, of course. And the weekly RSI is getting millimeters away from resistance once again. At this point in time, the resistance is weekly RSI 50 to 49, and currently we are reading 48. If we were to close at 51.52, that will be extremely bullish for a potential move to RSI 65 in the upcoming months. That will possibly come with a bullish crossover of the stochastic RSI as well. But it's a little bit too early. We are on Thursday. Let's see how we progress over the weekend. Let's not forget that we have pending CME gap from the past weekend from 53.9 to 54.5. CME gaps sometimes can take longer than expected to close, so I don't want to miss that either. From yesterday, we have broken below the ratio of 1 on the Big Well Explorer. This confirms that the withdrawals from large wells are a lot larger than the deposits. Worth mentioning that those are large wells together with long-term holders. Short-term holders continue to sell off as the price increases. Most of them are still in panic, and as soon as they get to break even or close to it, they are just dumping their holdings, as opposed to what long-term holders have been doing in the past 2 months, which is buying more. And I got a new level of liquidation coming in, formed on the 10th of September at 52.5, very close to the CME gap. We are looking at the swing chart on Trading Different. If we zoom in a little bit more, it's much more clear that the highest liquidity is actually at 51.6. This time frame, the 4-hour, gives me a clear picture, gives me a high-level overview of where to find all the liquidity pools. I use the scalping template on Bitcoin. You can have a look at the link in the description. There's a discount on Trading Different where you can access all these charts on multiple coins. At the moment, on the scalping chart, we still have loads of liquidations above us and not many below us. So there's still some room to go, at least to get to 60K. And I'm talking about incentive, not guarantees to go anywhere. When it comes to fair value gaps, very thin fair value gaps are below the price and immediately above the price, with the exception of 61 to 64K, where you see the thickest ones that if we get closer to them are gonna be a significant incentive for price to take the liquidity. Worth noting that all the spread and ratio charts of BTC against different important assets are getting ready for a follow-up breakout after the failed one that we had in mid-August. Let's see if this one is the one that's gonna play out. I'm sure eventually we're gonna get one that actually plays out. It's totally worth the pain of sometimes getting faked out, because these are the breakouts that give the most significant moves in bull markets. So I much rather getting faken out with one of these signals than ignoring them and missing them. You can see that against the VIX, the volatility index, we are right there against the resistance once again. On the Federal Reserve's liabilities, we're getting close. On Nasdaq, again, we are 1 or 2 points close to the resistance and right at support. The spread chart, dollar index, not very close yet, but producing bullish divergences right below resistance is something bullish. Ethereum is printing a second consecutive signal from the SOPR oscillator, and if you've been watching my channel, you know what we are talking about. I'm not gonna give you a summary this time of past performance. I'm just hoping that you will be able to take advantage of this. And one of the most scary things that are freaking out still lots of investors is comparisons of Nvidia against Cisco in the 2000 bubble. Cisco used to be 5.5% of the GDP right at the top of the bubble, and currently Nvidia is more than 200% that amount, with a whopping 11.7% of the GDP as of now. When Cisco crashed, it did it from a price of $80 and it found bottom below $10, which is huge crash for a stock. If we were to repeat that on Nvidia that made highs of over $130, I wouldn't be surprised to get somewhere between $10 and $20. And the problem is not Nvidia. I'm not a holder at the moment. My worry is how it can drag the whole market with it. Nvidia has been responsible for keeping S&P, Nasdaq numbers in the positive, and it could also be responsible for crashing all the markets. And yes guys, I decided to publish the performance of my trading bot on OKX using 3 commas and TradingView and my indicator backtester called Absolutno. I have done tens of videos covering Absolutno using BTC and different trading pairs. In the community, there's plenty of people currently using it, most of them bot traders that have reached some level of maturity, understanding that is worth the effort of learning a little bit more of TA and using TA for opening the safety orders and also for your exit conditions. It has done more performance than Bitcoin in the past 2 years, so for me it's outperforming my holdings. It requires a substantial amount of margin in the account in case Bitcoin dumps heavy, but it has never used it so far in this past 2 years, and I tend to run many other bots sharing the same margin, which is very risky, but if you know what you're doing, you should be able to go to sleep in peace. Here is the bot on 3 commas, and here is the backtesting on TradingView that is currently sending the signals to the bot to enter and exit. I don't share the precise parameters of my bots, but I'm happy to help you in your journey of learning how to trade with these bots, get setups that work in a similar way to mine and even much more profitable. A good way to start is to join the strategies forum on my Discord server. The link is in the description. See if it's something that you would like to learn. Use some of the setups as templates, modify them. That is the way that works for most of the people joining the channel. If you're just looking for something to copy trade, I have separate bots with copy trading. All links are in the description. Guys, I'm currently hosting a position airdrop on Bybit. You trade with $100 and they give you additional $500 to trade for free on any of the coins listed in this page. Check out the top link in the description. You have to click it to activate it in your Bybit account and to see the instructions. I also left you a referral link in the description. If you open a new Bybit account with my referral in the description, you can unlock up to 30,000 in rewards. Worth noting that if you use a Bybit account with my referral, you do not have to pay memberships to join my trading community and to have access to either Observer or VIP perks in the community, like our vast library of indicators and backtesters, pair selection, orchestration signals, and a lot more. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.